Well, I reckon we're ready to go because we've got a little bit to get into this. Let me again just say welcome. My name's James. I'm the head educator at Raisley. And my role at the core of it is to help you create, fundraise, and grow in Raisley, giving you all the confidence to use this great tool to see your fundraising goals be achieved. Now, we've got a great webinar ahead by looking at Facebook fundraising. But before that, like all of our webinars, we want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which I'm meeting and do this webinar from, which is the Awabakal people, and just pay our respects for all elders past, present, and future. Now, as we get into this webinar, like a lot of sort of our workshops / webinars, we want them to be a little bit more interactive for you. So the main part there is the ability to ask questions. You can use the Q&A feature within Zoom to do that, and our amazing support team and also a few others such as Tom, our CEO, and a couple of others will be available there to actually answer your questions throughout this workshop. So you don't have to wait for me to sort of have a Q&A time. You can post a question up and that will look to be answered by our team. Now, we'll have a moment for quick questions that I can sort of go through and see what's available there so we can sort of capture some of those for this workshop. But you will be able to actually put up your questions there and see them answered as well. Now, one of my promises is not to answer everything. So do always remember, you can get in touch with us at support@raisley.com. Just email us through and our great support team will get back to you, particularly around this feature, because there are some sort of unique things in regards to Facebook fundraising that you're going to need some help with. So we really acknowledge that we would love you to reach out to us. There's going to be some new learning content that's going to be coming up on YouTube in regards to Facebook fundraising, but we'll make you aware of that as well. Now, that's a little bit about the logistics of this workshop. So what are we actually looking at? We're looking at Facebook fundraising, which I'm not sure whether this is sort of brand new for you or not. So I'm going to quickly just run a poll for those out there. I want to understand what is your experience and expectations at the moment when it comes to Facebook fundraising. So I'm going to launch this poll out here. It simply asks, where are you at with Facebook fundraising? I'd like to know, are you curious about it? Are you ready to go with it? Have you already started it? Check out that poll right now, enter your answer. I'm really, really curious about where you're at. Now, at the moment, we've got a lot of you just curious about the feature, which is going to be great because I'm going to show you a little bit about what that looks like. And hopefully your curiosity will be satisfied around that. We got 22% who are all ready to get started. And one of the things I want to show you is, are you ready to get started? There's 4 things you do need to actually get started in Facebook fundraising. So hopefully you'll have those if you're ready to start. We have 4% who have already set up and launched. This is unreal. We did release this on beta to a few charities to help test it out, which was wonderful. And we saw their uptake immediately, and we saw some great fruit from their campaigns as well, sort of coming through. So I love that. So sort of the poll sort of clears it there. 76% curious about the feature, 3/4 of you, wonderful. Hopefully this workshop will help in regards to that. Ready to get started, wonderful. I'm going to take you guys through the things that you're going to need to get started, which will be good. And 4% already set up and launched. We would love to know how it's going for you. So you can let us know in the chat here. You can post me on YouTube. I want to know what's going on in that world. I would love to have a look. All right. Thank you for entering those in there. That gives me a little bit of a picture about what's going on. All righty. So a couple of things that we're going to do today. First off, I'm going to showcase what Facebook fundraising is. So I want to actually create a fundraising campaign in Facebook via one of our campaign charities that have already sort of launched. So I'll show you that. I want to show you sort of in there as well, what are the new features in Raisley that sort of make sense of this. Then I want to look at why use this feature. And there's kind of one key reason why you would use this feature, but one of the things you've got to sort of weigh up is it's actually going to be valuable for your organization. Then we're going to look at what you need to use this feature. Now, that is a bit of a kicker because there are some requirements that you do need in order to actually activate this feature, unlike many of our other features that are sort of ready to go quite quickly. And then lastly, we're going to do how to set up the feature, which I hopefully will fly through, but there's a great support document, but we'll go through that. And then last of all, Q&A. So that's where we're going. I'm going to kick off now. Why don't we duck in and actually create a fundraiser on Facebook. and see what this thing actually looks like. So Smiling Mind, thank you so much. You've got a great campaign. I'm using yours, and I'm going to create one on my Facebook account. So first thing I'm going to do is I need to share my screen. So where am I? Share screen. Dun, 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 dun. That's the one I'm after. Okay. Now, what you should see is my screen on a live active campaign. Now, I'm just going to get my team to confirm in the chat that you can actually see my screen. Everything's good. Looks like it's all coming through. Kylie's, yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Kylie. All right, so what we have here is actually Raisley's new template. It's a template specifically developed for Facebook fundraising. And this is what it looks like with a little bit of branding as well. So when you go here, I can simply select continue with Facebook, and a little pop-up's going to sort of come up. Oh, it's already got that in there. I didn't see that one coming. All right, hang on 2 secs. Just give me a moment. Oh, I thought I'd actually sorted this one out. All right. You know, I'm going to pause on that one. I will show you what it looks like in a moment. It wasn't supposed to do that. It was supposed to bring me up a nice little form, take me to Facebook and all that. But I'll come back to that because I do want to show you what it actually looks like. And we'll get there. So that's all right. So first off, what I'll do, what I can actually quickly show you is what it looks like in Raisley. So what are some of the new settings that have come up in Raisley for this? So let me quickly share my screen again. And I'm going to go to Chrome and share. And the first thing I want you to be aware of is that when you actually go now to create a new campaign, one of the things that you can do here is go to peer-to-peer, scroll down, and here you have a new template called Facebook Fundraiser. Now, if I select this, it's basically going to create for me a new campaign called Facebook Fundraiser. And at the core of it, it's a very, very simplified campaign template. Really all it appears in there is a homepage and a header and footer as well, if you do want to style this out. Now, the actual template, what we have in here has one single block attached to it, and that is a new block that's available called Facebook Fundraising Sign Up. Now, this is actually one of the sort of primary ways you may end up using Facebook Fundraiser. Really what it, at the heart of it, what it is a one-click ability for a fundraiser to create a profile page, to create a page in which they can publicize out to friends and family and others that they're doing a fundraiser, have some of their own information in that, but at the core of it have a donation platform within Facebook in which they can actually take donations for, which is completely synced in with Raisley. That's the beauty of it. The Facebook skin is only a skin. Facebook is only at the front end. The entire back end at the core of it is actually integrated back into Raisley. So your donations appear as though they would normally on if someone was to make a donation via someone's profile. So this is one of your options that you have for creating a new campaign. If you just want your fundraising participants to have a simple one-click page they can go to, create their own Facebook fundraising page on that, and away they go, you can literally create a campaign within minutes. This is one of the great little features that comes with it. Now, the nice little part is that this little block here also has another block that you can actually configure, and it's going to be a default block whenever you create a peer-to-peer campaign, and it's the default block that also appears in your dashboard page. What that means is if I go back into here and maybe, let's say, open up a new peer-to-peer campaign and go to pages, and I go to my dashboard. Now, if here I have Facebook fundraising activated, one of the things that's going to appear just down the bottom here is a new button that will say connect with Facebook fundraising. This means that even though what you can sort of have is have your cake and eat it too, you can both create a peer-to-peer campaign, enable people to create the profile like the normal way you would on any sort of Raisley peer-to-peer campaign. They go through the sign-up form, they create their profile. But when they hit their dashboard for the first time, it gives them the option of then also creating a Facebook fundraising page with a simple one-click button. It'll integrate over to their Facebook, take them in there, they can set up a few little settings, and they've got 2 pages they can now share, one on Facebook and also their web page, which is basically their profile page as well. So they're the two major ways in which people can actually integrate and use Facebook fundraising as a campaign option in there. A quick standalone template. I just want people to create a Facebook fundraiser page, or I can integrate it with my peer-to-peer systems as well. So that's what you sort of have within there. But there is one new setting I just quickly want to show you. And this is probably one of the bigger changes that we've done as well. If I go into my settings, one of the things here is that we've actually moved Facebook integrations outside of apps and integrations. And the reason is this, is we're trying to sort of just see Facebook as a bit more of a holistic area, largely because most of the features rely on creating a Facebook app. So if I was to go into Facebook integrations here, some of the things that you'll quickly see here is Facebook login, which you may be familiar with. That just allows people to, on a sign-up form, use a one-click login via Facebook integration. But you can also see the two other ones, which is Facebook fundraising, which is today's one, which we're going through. And also we have Facebook Pixel, in which you can activate as well. Now, as you can see, this is related to a Facebook app ID. One of the things I would love you just to quickly understand, which is really helpful with this, is that with Facebook app IDs, when you first create a Raisley campaign, Raisley actually has its own Facebook app ID built into that. What that means is that if you don't use a custom URL for your campaigns, but you're going with the default Raisley URL that's created with your campaigns, it means that you can just switch Facebook login straight to on, and it'll work straight away. But if you do have a custom domain, you actually do need to set up an app within your Facebook developers, Meta for developers account, in order for you to actually activate Facebook login and make it work with your custom domain. That's why then you would actually replace Raisley's Facebook app ID with your own Facebook app ID. Just be aware, if you are going to be using Facebook fundraising, you actually do need your own app ID. So you do actually have to set up both Facebook login and Facebook fundraising for Facebook fundraising to work. You can't just rely on Raisley's Facebook login for this, because this app ID does change. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, but let me quickly run it through that again. What's changed in Raisley? First off, we have a new template that you can use for Facebook fundraising, which is great. Secondly, we also have a new block that you can add, and it's actually automatically added to dashboard pages within a peer-to-peer campaign to allow your fundraising participants to also connect into Facebook via the dashboard page. And lastly, we've got a new setting in settings called Facebook integrations, which sort of amalgamates all the Facebook integrations and apps into one, making it a little bit easier for you to find your way around that as well. So hopefully that was sort of clear, helpful, defined it. Yep, I think that's good. We have one of the questions that come in. Can this Facebook fundraiser sign-up block be integrated into the new Giving Day templates too, or only peer-to-peer templates? That's a really great question. Cool part, totally you can. You can actually put this new block anywhere you want. You can put this on a homepage. You can put you can put it in a header call to action if you really, really wanted to. You can actually put this block wherever you actually need it to be, which is a great part. It doesn't just have to belong into the dashboard page on a peer-to-peer campaign. It'll be one as long as you have set up Facebook fundraising. So yes, that block is available across all your pages as long as you have Facebook fundraising activated and set up. So hopefully that sort of answers that question. Thank you, Sarah, for putting that one through. All right, so here's one of the big things we want to be having a look at is why use this feature at all? Now, the actual feature at the core is creating an independent Facebook fundraising page for that one participant on their Facebook account. What's the advantage of that? Now, some of the clear advantages of it is, as you've seen, it's very easy for someone to go in there and create their account within 5 seconds. And it's actually utilizing an already existing login through Facebook. So having them as a native user on Facebook sort of allows that user experience for them to be nice and simple and quick. So yes, there is one sort of a great benefit of just user friendliness or user experience for the fundraiser creating their account. Don't need to go through complex sign-up forms. You can sort of make it as simple as you want. say is one core benefit, but really the core benefit for you is this actually going to improve your fundraising? And the great part about that, the answer is yes. The reason why is that when someone actually creates a Facebook fundraising page, the Facebook algorithm enables that page to be far more prominent on their Facebook page than, say, if they were to share a link. Now, the classic way for someone to share their campaign with others, friends, or family would be, say, to grab the link and paste it on Facebook with a new post that they have. Now, they may pin that post if they wanted to, but that's probably a standard way to do it. Or they could just use the integration within Raisley to share on Facebook. Now, Facebook's fine with that. It's just acting like a normal post. But if they actually create a Facebook fundraising page, the great advantage of that is that page will actually find itself far more prominence to their mass audience that they interact with on Facebook than if they were to simply give a post. That really, at core of it, leads to the great benefit is it makes it more shareable. The wider they can actually see that post throughout their network, the greater opportunity they're going to have to see donations come in for it as well. Probably one of the nice parts is around that too, it's a very familiar environment for a donor. A donor sort of donating on Facebook is relatively simple because they already understand our platform and how it works. Then taking them to a website, maybe one step too far for them. So the fact that a donor itself can find it very, very easy to jump on and do it. So a cool benefit would be really this kind of idea of shareability. That's why we're saying give it a go. We're really, really interested in seeing the long-term results of actually campaigns that are launched up on Facebook. And it's going to be just really quite simple for you to do, so I don't really think you have anything to lose by putting it up, but you've got a lot to gain. So there's some of the things. Tiffany had another question. Can you quickly walk through how to get a Facebook app ID if you have the custom domain? Absolutely. That is what I'm going to do. I will do that right now because step 4, I need you to show you what you need to use this feature. So we looked at sort of we looked at how the setup is in Raisley. We looked at some of the major benefits that you're going to have using this one. But it's a workshop, so yes, let's dive in. And I just want to tell you what you actually need to get this set up. Now, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again because I want to take you to a support document that we've actually produced, which is going to help you give you some guidance around this. So if you went to Raisley, support@raisley.com, support.raisley.com, it's a website, and you just type in Facebook, you'll find a new article here called Integrating Facebook. Now, this is one article that deals with everything Facebook. So it's meaning that you don't have to find multiple support guides to just deal with Facebook. It's all in one, helping you. And it's relatively easy to navigate. You've got your little links here that will take you to the different things that you're going to need. But the very, very first thing is this one here, getting set up with Facebook accounts. Now, 4 things that you are going to need. The number one is you're going to need an individual Facebook account. With your business, you're probably aware of that Facebook, if you are actually going to utilize a business account with Facebook, it's going to have to be associated with an individual's Facebook account. So you do need an individual Facebook account, even if that's the worst thing in the world for you. Next thing you do need is a Meta business account with Facebook, set up within Facebook. The link is all here, is business.facebook.create, but you do need a business account in order for this integration to work. Within your business account, the next thing you will need from that is a Meta for Developers account. Now, don't be too scared about this. I'm going to take you through this. Some of you, I am aware, may not have access to all of this. So this is one of the things you'll need to work out internally, but you do also need a Meta for Developers account. The link is there, developers.facebook.com, and that will just be associated with your business account, but actually it's at the core of it associated with your individual account, which is linked there to your business accounts. And then the last one, and this is probably the biggest one to make a comment on, is Facebook fundraisers. Now, for some organizations, you may not have set this up yet. Here's a link to Facebook's Donate sign up, and I'll actually take you to this page here, Fundraise on Facebook. Now, really what this is that this is Facebook's sort of arm of charity. It's there to supply tools to nonprofits and charities in order to make them their life better, and that's sort of Facebook's contribution to the good. If you do not have an account with this, it will take time. this is probably maybe one of the steps that you may sort of struggle with a little bit. To actually apply for Facebook fundraising, it can take up to a few weeks to get approved for it. That's because there's a non-for-profit process. There's a whole bunch of little things you need to set up within your business account for it to happen. So there are some things that can at times make this a little bit tricky for you. So a big encouragement would be that it would be good for you to get onto that straight away. If you don't have that, one of the ways you can actually check whether you have this or not is if I go to this one here. If you actually went to this site, you'll actually see here eligible pages you manage. And you'll see here, this is Smiling Mind, which is a great charity that we love supporting, is that your application has been approved. Now you can start using charitable giving tools. If this does not appear, you have not seen Facebook, you have not set up Facebook fundraising, which is a requirement to use Facebook fundraising tools, in this case, Facebook Fundraiser. So you need to make sure that this has a little tick next to it and it is your application for it has been approved. Now, within this document, there is all the links available for you to see that. One of the things that is helpful, though, is just looking at what your eligibility requirements are for this. There's a couple of other documents that are linked out that you can actually find here. This is Facebook's eligibility for Facebook fundraising tools, and you can go through the countries that are available. Do be aware, not all countries are supported. So find this, you can actually go to another page within this, which will actually give you a whole listing of every country and what the options are for it as well. I'm going to close that one down. Facebook fundraising, you guys have seen that, which is good. But here's the document that you do want to be going through. All right. Hopefully pretty simple. Now, there's a couple of questions that have just quickly come on through. Katrina writes, if using Facebook fundraising on a peer-to-peer campaign, does the data push-pull from Raisley and Facebook? If someone donates to the Raisley link, will those donations of Facebook fundraising, will they always be in sync? Absolutely, they will be. So the total will change on Facebook. If someone donates on someone's profile page and therefore that fundraiser's total grows, that total is also going to be reflected on their Facebook fundraising page as well. But you're going to also see all the information back in Raisley. So if you do donate via Facebook, by the Facebook page, you'll see that donation appear within Raisley as well. Tiffany also asked, do you know if you can have two business pages set up to one non-for-profit with Facebook? That's a great question. Probably chase it up with Facebook. I can follow that up in the questions below. But my assumption is no, that only one of your business pages can actually be set up with Facebook fundraising. So I'm quite sure that is the answer. You can follow that up with Facebook and check out some of their support documentation. I might put that in a Q&A, frequently asked questions in our support document. But I'm quite sure no, only one business page can be linked into Facebook fundraising, but do check them on that. And Tiffany also asked, can one non-for-profit have two business profiles utilizing Facebook fundraising tools? Again, follow that up with Facebook. I think you can only have one business profile. Do check that with them. It will probably be within the application settings for that as well. Okay, so we've gone through a few things. Now, quickly, we want to have a look at how to actually set up an app. So how do you actually set up this feature? Now, I've given a whole bunch of instructions that are available in this documentation, but the very, very first thing is you need to create a Facebook app. Now, if you only want to use Facebook login, you can use Raisley's app, which is default. But in this case, we want to use Facebook Fundraiser, which means you need to create your own app. First thing that you are going to need is you are going to need Meta for developers. Here we go. Now, I've logged into mine, right? So you may see some random stuff. This is kind of just one of the things we've got to go with. It's a little bit hard to do demos around this because we are a charity and don't have all that. But when you go to developers.facebook.com, you go to Meta for developers. Now, here's where you're actually going to create your first app. You'll log in here and select My Apps. And at the moment, you can see I've got no apps at all. Simply all I can do is create a new app. Now, I want to make sure this is a business app, and I'm going to select Next. And I'm just going to give it a display name. Now, this display name is a little bit important because it does appear when the integration pops up for a user. So don't call it anything. Call it something that you're happy with publicly So I'm just going to call this one API, for example. Now, here's the important part. There is a contact email that is going to be associated to this. My personal email, so don't worry about that. But you do need a business account for this to work. So I'm going to associate this with a business, and I'm going to go create an app. You must have there, let's see, if I remember my password. Fantastic. So you must link this app with a business account. If you don't, it will not work. So at the moment, some of the things you can quickly see is this will go into your app. Now, the very first thing I want you to see here is your app ID. This is what is actually copied back into Raisley's integration settings. So if I go back here and look at Facebook app ID, this is what you're going to be copying into that, which is going to be helpful for you as well. All right, so here is your app ID. That's where you can find it. Everything's all good. Now, what you have within this is you have a bunch of what they call products. Now, this is where sort of Facebook's language is. You have an app, and within the app, you have products that you can utilize. Now, the reason they do it that way is that apps at the sort of core of it, you can create many of them for sort of different, all sorts of different use cases. So it might be you need mobile apps for that, or you got a website app. But at the moment, we're creating an app for our website, and we need to utilize a couple of products in here. Now, the first product that I am just going to activate very, very quickly is I'm just going to set up Facebook login. So I can just simply select Facebook login. I'm going to choose on the web. I'm going to enter my URL, save that there. And I continue. And I can copy this code into the JavaScript in Raisley. It's very simple. We have a support document on how to do that. But as you can see on the left-hand side, under products, that Facebook login is now a product that I have available. Now, what I need to do is I need to add another product. Now, as you can see, it's changed a little bit. I've now got Facebook login done. But what I want to do now is I want to be setting up what is called fundraisers. So I'm going to hit here, set up. This is what is going to help us set up Facebook fundraisers. So if I click set up, now, what's going to happen here is the first thing you'll see is a nice little instructional from Facebook, but then you're going to be hit most likely if you haven't set up Facebook fundraising, or if there's some settings in your business account that need to be updated, you're going to have this business verification message come up. Now, ideally, you don't have that come up. Ideally, what you actually see instead is just a big tick on this space. You actually say business verification, and it will say you are verified. That's ideally what you want to see. So when you go to set this up, if it does say that, wonderful, you can progress to the next steps, everything's fine. But if this little warning message for business verification comes up, there are settings that you do need to go back and look at. The very, very first one is, are you signed up for Facebook fundraisers within Facebook? But there's also some other things such as your privacy policy URL set up as well. Now, we do have some links to some support documents within our support doc to help you with that. But at the core of it, if you do struggle with that, that is something you will need to take up with Facebook to make sure your business account is verified. So there are some steps you'll need to create in that. But let's just say, for example, at the moment, my little business here is verified, and that has a big green tick on it, and I can move forward. You go down to the third little block here, and what you want to be doing is actually add a submission to the fundraising, add a product submission to Facebook. Now, I'm going to select add a submission, and as you can see, helpfully, Facebook sort of shows you some of the things that need to be done in order for you to keep going with this. So you do need to check things, but let's, as example, let's just go with the fact that these are all green and everything's working just fine. What you have here is you'll have an option that says edit details. You need to select this, and you have three options that are going to come up. The very first option you want to be selecting, my organization is integrating with a tech provider. Why? Because that tech provider is actually Raisley. Raisley has worked tirelessly with Facebook over quite a while now to enable us to be a tech provider. And that is a great thing that we've finally got clear, enabling us to get this integration really quickly set up for you. That took a long time. Tom, our CEO, worked tirelessly on it. We're really thankful that we've set that up, because what that now means is that you here can type in Raisley up as your tech provider. And the last thing you need to do is just put in your charity page. Now that at the core of it is your Facebook's business page that you want to be looking at, and hit save. Now, as it says here, no, it's not going to go through because this is not a real page. Once you hit save, you'll have a little option that comes up here saying submit for review. All you need to do is click that. Now, at the core of it, once you've done that, that's actually your Facebook Fundraisers product set up. But there's a couple more settings that you just need to look out for. And we'd love for you just to do these now while you're already in Facebook rather than having to do them a bit later on. The very first one is you need to go back to Facebook login. So if I go back to Facebook login and go to settings, you're going to find a whole bunch of settings in here. Now, that's okay. If this feels like absolute crazy developer talk, the reality is it kind of is, right? So I just want to simplify it out for you because you have to do it, but it's not as tricky as you sort of think. There's a couple of things that need to be activated, 3 precisely. The very first one is where it says login with JavaScript SDK, that must be enabled. You need to make sure that's ticked yes, and that's actually going to make Facebook login work as well. The next one you want to be doing is entering your allowed domains for the JavaScript SDK. Now, all you are putting in here is the domain, the primary domain or the root domain for your campaign. So if that is james.com, you put james.com. Or if that is your campaign, which might be james.raisley.com, that is where you'd put that in. What you also need to do, though, is put these same domains, these allowed domains, in here for the valid OAuth redirect URLs. What this is that not all platforms sort of work the same. If on an Android phone, the JavaScript SDK won't work as well, so it actually goes to the redirects. So all that means is you need to be putting in your campaign URLs into here to make sure that your product is validating those URLs as legitimate. So if you have multiple ones of these, make sure you put those in, but this is where you put your URL. So those 3 steps are enable login with JavaScript SDK. Lastly, allowed domains for JavaScript SDK. Make sure you put your domains there. And then lastly, valid auth redirects URLs, put them in there. Once you've done that, you just hit save changes. And the best part about it, you're pretty much done, all right? Last step that you sort of need is we need you then to actually submit a request to Raisley. Now, the reason you do this, as I said, this is not like normal integrations, right? There's a few steps in this. That's just the way sort of it works with Meta and that kind of stuff. But there's a few little things you need. As you can see, if I went back into Raisley, what is not yet activated is Facebook Fundraising. You actually need this activated. To do that, literally we've put in a great little link in the support documentation. If I went down, Facebook login, Facebook Fundraisers, here I've got my little steps, and down the bottom here, you have a click here to notify Raisley of your Facebook Fundraiser integration. Once you've done those 7 steps above, which I've just outlined in this, you can just select here, it's going to go to a form. You can fill that form in, letting us know that you've done your part. Now, the cool part is then what we'll do is that we will then set up the integration within Raisley for you, all ready to be set up. There are a couple of things that you will need in order to actually put in this form. It's just 2 very, very simple ones. The very, very first one is we'll need you, if you go back into your not into your product, into your app. That's what I'm looking at. If you go back into your app, there's one thing you need to find here. Simply is, if I go to settings and basic, there's a little thing here that says app secret. You can click show. We actually need that app secret to set this up in Raisley for you. Now, there is, you can do this yourself. That is fine. So if you're, I don't want to give away that app secret, no dramas, let us know. We are happy for you to do this step on your own. But if you just want us to set it up for you and it's all working and all ready to go, we just need the app secret there as well, which you can find in your in your Facebook app under settings and basic, just the app secret. And the only other thing we need is we need the page ID for your fundraising page. Now that can actually simply be found two ways. You can just log into Facebook, open up your business page, and if you go to the About section, you'll actually find the little page ID. Another way to do it, you can actually do it in your business manager settings just by going, as you can see here, you can access your page in Business Manager, and then down the bottom, you have an option called Page ID, which is one of the IDs we need as well. So that's in the support doc. If you can't find it, just check the support doc in there. There's some ways that you can look at that too. So, there's a few more questions that have come in. This is great. Once you've actually got that set up, this is what it's going to look like, which is great, right? So the time frame on this is once you've actually done your submission to Facebook, that will take a little bit for the app to for it to be approved. Normally that's 24 hours. What we encourage you to do though is send your application into Raisley, and we can link that up for you. And that we make sure that the billing is all set up in requirements of that. That again is going to take a 24-hour time frame. So you're probably looking at a 24-hour time frame from when you've set up your app to it all working. But once it's all working, and what we'll actually enable for you is this little section here. When you go to Facebook integrations, you'll have your Facebook app ID, which you've already entered, which is great. You have Facebook login, but in Facebook fundraising, you're actually going to see all these new options here. Now, as I said, this is your app secret, which we've requested, and also your page ID, which you can actually change as well once this is set up. But then you've got a few other options, fundraiser details. You can put your fundraiser name in this one. Now, as you can see, there's a little merge field that's bringing in the fundraiser's name. You can put your default goal in here as well. You can put a default description, which is terrific. And then you can put your fundraiser end date as well, which is just going to be able to close it off for if you need that. Last thing is that you can put a great looking cover photo in, which is going to be the default that Facebook will use on the person's profile. Click save, and then away you go, which is just unreal. Love that. So big encouragement just to get in there and apply, set your app up, send us the form. We'll get this set up. And once that's all done, all your integrations are ready to go. You can now set up your campaign if it's that one-off using the new template, or you can go in and use the new block on any page you want, and it's going to be working, which is unreal. So all of these sort of outlines are going to be in the support documentation. As you can see, there's a lot of detail going through all this, but you can sort of see that there, and hopefully this little walkthrough has helped you there. Now I'm going to go through a few of the questions that have come up. I know I'm rushing through this, but it's a good one for you. Bailey Wood asks, when someone donates through our Facebook fundraiser, does their donor info, name, phone number come through to Raisley so we can add them to our CRM? What it's going to do, it does actually provide a form. So you can actually put some form questions into your Facebook, into your integration that will be captured in Raisley. It won't bring in all the information from Facebook. That information does need to be linked. It'll bring some basic information through though. I'll put that in the FAQ because that's a really good question, and I'll make sure we follow that up. How do donations show on the dashboard? As I know, there are delays with data and reports only USD rather than AUD. This is sort of something that we're sort of looking through at the moment where, again, this integration is relatively new and so we're sort of finding some stuff. One of the nice parts is you will be able to actually see whether the donation has been made through Facebook Fundraiser or not. That's a little advantage of seeing what the donation is on that. If you go into the person's profile, you can also see whether that profile has an associated Facebook fundraiser in that regards as well. All those details you will find there as well. Let me have a quick look if I go into, say, profiles. And if a profile, say, was here, which is one, let me find one that is, maybe this one has a profile. That'll do. You'll see here under page URL, another little option that will say Facebook fundraiser. And I'll actually give you a link to their Facebook fundraising page as well. So you can tell whether that profile has a Facebook fundraiser associated with it. with donations, we will be putting some more stuff up on our FAQs within the support document. And there's some new videos coming out on how to manage donations through that as well. Bear with us. We're still looking at sort of how that integration fully works out. Now, another one is, can you create multiple apps with one business account? Absolutely, you can. You can create as many apps as you want. Just be aware that you can only enter one app ID into Raisley. So you can only use one app in Raisley, but you can create as many apps as you want in your business account. Now, how does the donation data look in Raisley, Katrina? I'm going to put a screen grab of that in our support documentation ASAP. So I'll link you over there to the support doc. When I upload this video to our YouTube, I'll put in a link in there so you can see more about what the donation data looks like as well. Typically, it's going to look pretty samey as the existing fundraising data, though we do also want to check what tags are available for you to see whether it's come through Facebook or not. So I'll make sure, Katrina, we put some stuff up there on this one. Another one says, once all of this is set up and integrated properly, what will it look like on the individual signing up and creating a fundraiser? That's a great question. Now, my team has helped me out with this one. I'm hoping I'm going to give this a crack again, and it's going to work. Yes, it's doing something a little bit different. This is good. Hopefully the whole process works. All right, I want to put a postal address in Smith Street. That'll do. I'm living in Tassie. Mobile. Continue. View your fundraiser. All right. This is what it looks like. All right. Now, Smiling Mind, we love your cause. I'm now supporting your cause. I totally may have friends now that give to your cause, which is wonderful. But as a core of it, it is as simple as that. They've just entered some basic details that we've captured through, and straight off the bat, it's integrated with their own Facebook login, which is there. Now, in most cases, it will actually ask them to authorize it and make sure they're logged into Facebook. I was already logged into Facebook, which is why it was so quick, but it's actually a very, very quick space. As you can see, though, little goal, 0, raise the 220, which is awesome. Here, what I have is my little about statement, which is great, and I can also edit that. It's benefiting the charity. I can invite my friends to have a look at this. I can see my fundraiser progress. I can share this. I can invite others to it. It's literally as simple as that, which is amazing, all right? We've now got a fundraiser page. Now, just as a quick note, the first time I put this up, I had 3, and sort of test this a little bit, I had 3 of my friends just donate straight away, all right, thinking that I'm like for cause, and I was actually just testing the software out. I'm so thankful that they were generous and wanted to give to a great organization. But it really is simple as that. It goes straight out to your profile. It sets it up really, really quickly like that. And I hope what you've seen is it's actually that simple. You can actually conform those as you sort of see those sign-up little fields that sort of came in as well. You can adjust those. But really, at the core of it, that's what we've set up. And hopefully you are looking at this and it looks absolutely rad. Hopefully that's sort of helped you. You've seen a few of the little things within the feature around that. But that's kind of Facebook fundraising. Now, I've rushed through a little bit. We do have the support document that we do want you to look at. We are going to be putting up a few more live video tutorials around this. We do want to explore sort of what this looks like in regards to your fundraiser management, particularly sort of donations and what that looks like. So be sure to sort of put some things up in there. As I said earlier, this entire webinar workshop will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Check out the description. It'll have a bunch of resources that you can find out there with a little bit more information.